future sound of agriculture and food industry. The future is now.
Hello everyone, here we are with the sound of the future. I am Anna, your host, and we have our AI expert, Charlotte, with us.
Hello, everyone. You can hear us here and find us on the World Wide Web at www.AGRi-FOOD.AI.
With AGRi-FOOD.AI, the future of agriculture has arrived. Farmers, factories, and logistic experts can gain enormous advantages from AI, IoT, machine learning, and our experts help to discover the new ways.
We ask everything and seek answers until we find. And I, the AI, always find everything. Trust me.
On today's episode, discover the theories and background information about AI technologies with Márta Alexy, Associate Professor at the Faculty of Informatics at Eötvös Lóránd University and Scientific Principal Researcher at Óbuda University. Charlotte, please introduce Márta first.
Since 2016, Dr. Alexy has been involved in agroinformatics. Prior to this, for nearly a decade, she worked in the competitive sector of animal husbandry, primarily designing, selling, and commissioning automated housing technology for large-scale poultry and pig farms. In this capacity, she collaborated with numerous farmers and worked with livestock technology manufacturers from the Netherlands, Germany, Italy, Spain, and France.
Márta, it's worth noting that you initially worked as an economic officer for 8 hours a day at ELTE. And you had a hunch about 8 years ago, that AI is something that agriculture needs. And that's the point when you connected the dots between the Faculty of Informatics and the agricultural field. How did the idea come?
Okay, thank you very much for this question. I would like to tell my story short. So my basic profession is agriculture engineer. And I graduated in Debrecen. I did my PhD there in animal sciences, closer to pig sciences. I spent close to 10 years in the agricultural industrial sector, and my job was to plan to make quotations for the farmers who had large-scale pig and poultry farms with an up-to-date automated technology. During these 10 years, I've collected lots of information, knowledge, experiences about how the farmers thinking and about their mentality and their problems. And also knew quite well the foreign suppliers because we were selling technology and I had to learn the market. And after these 10 years, I thought that I would like to jump big and I would like to leave the agricultural sector. Then it was just a luck that I was admitted to the Faculty of Informatics ELTE as a financial admin, so absolutely far away from agriculture. But during my work there, I recognized that this IT knowledge that I faced at the faculty, it would be good for another purpose, for example, an agricultural purpose. Because at the bottom of my heart, the agriculture is, I suggested it to our dean at the faculty, and he decided that, okay, Márta, let's do it. And we founded this Precision Agriculture Research Group, and we started to work. And after, in 2019, I became assistant professor there at the Faculty of Informatics at the Department of Data Science and Engineering as an agriculture engineer, so it was very funny. So I started to learn data science, artificial intelligence and machine learning and these kind of things. And it was last year, 2023, that my application for the position of associate professor was accepted. And I did my work in precision livestock farming because previously I dealt with that in the agriculture industry. So I've used my contacts in the agriculture academic sphere, also in the industrial contacts, and we started to make this kind of research there. And in 2021, I was offered to the Óbuda University because my activity at ELTE, but my job is the same, so research this precision livestock farming, because my main goal is that how can we use in practice these artificial intelligence and machine learning methods in the on-farm circumstances, which could give an answer to the farmers' questions, which is possible to solve with IT.
Let me ask you a personal question. You are a woman in a man-dominated field. Agriculture and IT is full of men. Was it difficult to show your expertise as a woman first when you started your career?
I can say that 50% yes, 50% no, because I think that the knowledge is independent on gender, right? So that secondly, that of course, it was not so easy to talk, for example, with farmers as a woman, because most of the farmers are or were men. But if you are able to give the valuable information to the farmers, after the certain level, it doesn't matter that you're a woman or a man. The personality of farmers counted a lot. Of course, not every farmer would open for this. I had success, and also sometimes I failed. So it's not easy, but I think that I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
And how long have you been working with AI?
When we established this research group, as I mentioned, it was 2016. So it means that from 2016, I've been dealing with this. But of course, it's very difficult for me as an agricultural engineer. So it's a very difficult field because the basis is the mathematics discipline. And I would like to say just in my words, so I'm not so perfect in math. So at first I had to collect this kind of skills to work with, but I like it. So during the several years, I hope, and I try to hope that I know something and more about this field, because it could be very useful in the agri-food.
The agri-food sector offers almost infinite application variations for IT professionals. According to this, blockchain technologies are essential for ensuring food chain safety, IoT technologies for digital data collection, S&P security and privacy procedures for the proper and secure handling of collected data, and deep knowledge of information system for optimizing corporate governance processes. Let's take a closer look at each. First, the scientific background, then the practical application. Charlotte, please define blockchain technology.
Blockchain technology is a decentralized, distributed ledger system that records transactions across multiple computers in a tamper-resistant and transparent manner. Each block contains a cryptographic hash of the previous block, creating a chain of blocks, hence the name blockchain. This design ensures immutability, meaning once data is recorded, it cannot be altered retroactively without altering subsequent blocks, providing high integrity and security. Blockchain enables peer-to-peer transactions without the need for intermediaries, reducing costs and increasing efficiency. It finds applications in various sectors, including finance, supply chain, healthcare, and voting systems, revolutionizing trust, transparency, and accountability in digital interactions.
Let's talk about blockchain technology. To be honest, I first heard about blockchain in connection with Ethereum and Bitcoin, but it's only the tip of the iceberg. How can blockchain technology be used in agri-food sector?
Yeah, it's very interesting because we can say that every subfield of IT could be useful in agri-food. Just depends on the level. And in blockchain, it's funny because we are talking about blockchain. We could say that there are this food supply chain as well. So there is the same word, chain at first. Secondly, we are talking about blocks in blockchain, but we also can say that in the agri-food there are also blocks, because it could be the farmers, the second block is the processors, the third is the suppliers, and the fourth is the manufacturers and the retailers. 5 blocks. And if we would like to ensure for the end users, so it means like us, for example, that the food what we buying and what we eating is produced by the secure way. It's the blockchain. It also could be an option. And that secondly, the other similarity is that the blockchain is a decentralized system, and this food supply chain is also a decentralized system. And third, that transparency, reliability, and the authenticity are also more and more important in food chain, which the blockchain can offer.
So it's analogic.
We can say, of course, it's not the same. So we cannot say that it's the same. It was several days ago that I bought a book, by the way, about blockchain applications from US, and in this book I could not find agri-food, for example, as an application. So what I found is healthcare and lots of these other sectors. So we are at the beginning of this, but I think that it could be a big future using blockchain. But there are some differences. First, that AGRi, so the agriculture, it's a heterogeneous and complex system in space and in time as well. And that secondly, the agriculture deals with living beings as raw materials. Just this cannot talk that, for example, we are working with plant and with animals, so it's not so easy to collect right data from these to feed the blockchain procedure. And that secondly, the food chains could be very so different. Depends on the product. We could talk about fruits, for example. We could talk about grains, meat, eggs, and lots of others. So it's very complicated. And secondly, and it's very important, that these products are perishable, which is not so common in, for example, Bitcoin. So we have just a certain amount of time to produce these products at the end for the end users. And another is that agriculture works with a high risk, for example, in the weather conditions, or the epidemics, or the diseases, which is not human controlled. It cannot be just a certain level of human controlled. So we can handle with that. And this risk we have to build into this blockchain if we would like to reach the good results at the end. And the other is that the level of processing of these agricultural products is different. Just look, for example, honey. There is not any processing procedure because the bee is doing this, so that's it. But for example, meat or bread, it means grains, for example, from the field. So this could be very short food chain, or it could be very long. Depends on the number of members in it. And there's also could be it's a job or a task for the blockchain to solve it. Just think about the farmer, for example, who has a known product and goes to the market and to sell it. That's it. But if you are talking about, for example, the meat processing with a big company, and they are, I don't know how many retailers and slaughterhouse and etc. So, and could be very long. And these checking points, what is important from the blockchain's point of view, we have to identify at first these kind of members and the authority of this. So that's another reason. And the last, but not least, so the list could be so long, the farmers, because the farmers block as the first. This is the beginning. But if you're talking about one farmer, or it could be a huge company, it could be a smaller or a medium-sized company. From the other hand, for example, in the fruit sector, we found a group of farmers, small farmers, but they are together, they're working together and selling together. It's also another question. How can we identify this block? So there are lots of sub-blocks after that. So, and this production structure, for example, in poultry, the poultry sector is working almost 100% in integration form. It means that there are lots of farms, smaller or medium size, and there is a slaughterhouse, the company owned, and the slaughterhouse has a contract with these poultry farmers to ensure the highest quality and the right amount of money, the right amount of meat in the right time. So there's another structure. So that's why I said that it's very, very complicated could be. But the key factor is in blockchain, the data, the digital data. This is the pain point of it, because the blockchain is working well from the first step, from the farmer's side, if there are enough valid, good, reliable data. And we can solve it just with the digitalization.
For digitalization, you have to put sensors, built-in sensors to the farms. Mm-hmm. You need machine vision, you need IoT in a farm as a first step, don't mm-hmm. you? What kind of first steps can be stepped for a farmer if he wants to modernize on this way?
Yeah, in my experiences, not every farmer will be this smart farmer. Because some may think that it's not my way. It's no problem with that. It's I would like to stay on the traditional way, and I will do that because I believe it's good. No problem with that. But collecting data is not something new in the agriculture. The agriculture is close to 10,000 years old. And during this very long time, the farmers collected data just to use for example, for optimization things, to reach the maximum profit. But the problem is that without checking as deep as possible the production level and quality, it's not so easy to reach the maximum profit. And for this, at this step, the digitalization is in. And
how can it be more precise than human eye? For example, the Big Brother system collects data and your Birdwatcher app also. So what is the difference?
Yeah, so we have 5 organs to collect information about environment as a human. And for example, with the computer vision, we can replace the vision, so the human eye. Or sensors, for example, in a moisture sensor, or for example, an ammonium sensor, maybe it's a better example, in the livestock, we could replace our nose. Or with microphones, we can replace our ears. And we have 3 possibilities to collect digital data in agriculture, and these 3 is the microphones, the sensors, and the cameras. Then that's it. And of course, microphones in the plant production is not so important, but in the livestock, we're using these 3. But the input information, the input data, the real data is absolutely different if we're comparing it to the traditional method. Because in the past, at the close past, it was just numbers, and we've used and still using absolutely traditional statistical methods. But because now we have not just numbers, but we have text, we have sound, we have picture, images, we have videos. So it's not possible to handle now the traditional statistics methods. And this is where, for example, the computer vision, and based on this artificial intelligence, almost 90% in machine learning, but we're using to work with that. That's the way how we can analyze this absolutely heterogeneous database to get the information and to give this information, because the data is just one thing. The farmers don't care about that. But they would like to have is the information from this. And sometimes the information is not enough because it's good for example, the decision support system. But if we would like to use, for example, robotics, it's a very interesting field. At the end, the high-tech informatics, for the robotics, we need more than just a simple information, because now the robots are working instead of the human, and it's again, it's a very interesting field, but I think that we have in the baby shoes right now in this case.
It's a huge field.
It's absolutely.
Let's move on and talk about the S&P methodology, the security and privacy system. If you collect a lot of data, you have to handle it very carefully. Charlotte, what is the security and privacy system in connection with data processing?
SP, the security and privacy system in connection with data processing, refers to the measures, protocols, and technologies implemented to safeguard sensitive information and ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. It involves strategies such as encryption, access controls, authentication mechanisms, intrusion detection systems, and regular security audits to protect against unauthorized access, data breaches, and other security threats. Additionally, privacy measures focus on compliance with regulations, such as GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, and include practices such as data anonymization, consent management, and privacy impact assessments to protect individuals' personal information and privacy rights. And data ownership is also a sensitive issue that awaits proper legislative framing.
Why is security and privacy system important in agriculture?
The data ownership. The key question is that how owns the data? And when we talk about the financial, for example, the healthcare, it's not easy, but not so complicated that, for example, in agriculture, just let's give an example. We are in the small village and somebody decided to buy a John Deere tractor, for example, and starts using on the field. And this John Deere just sending this information, the data, the real data to the cloud. This is the real data, and we cannot anonymize, for example, this. How can we do that? Because we know the field, the area, because the field doesn't move, so at first. So we know the place. And that secondly, we know exactly this vehicle. Of course, we don't know the name of the farmer, but
Who cares?
Exactly. And it's also, it's not so, it's a big deal to you to find out. So that's why it's very important question, and more important, because every time the question is that the where data's ownership, of course, belongs to the farmer. But if, for example, a company does something with this data, really analyzing it, or I don't know, or offers to the farmer a good decision support system, it's good, but this data, this original data, it's a structured data now and analyzed data, but about the ownership, because the origin of the data belongs to the farmer, but this data is not that data. It's an information. So who's the owner?
And who?
I don't know. Really don't know. It's a few years ago, the EU decided to do something with this field, because the precision agriculture or the digitalization in agri-food is more important, and the farmers would like to, because the human workforce shortages, for example, and because the input costs very high, and that's kind of reasons. So they would like to turn to this digitalization, but that kind of problems, for example, because the farmers cannot handle the rare data. So the value starts with the information, but the farmer cannot do it by himself or herself. It's not easy.
It's a question to be solved.
It's not easy.
It is not easy, and it's also not easy to conclude our discussion, especially with so many questions still lingering. But fear not, we will pick up right here where we left off in our next episode. If you are hungry for structured insights on optimization, animal welfare, or the science behind optimal nutrition, or if you are curious about how AI can help finding the ideal chicken, then stay tuned for Márta, me, and the AGRi-FOOD.AI podcast. Until next time.
If you have any questions or problems, don't hesitate to reach out. www.AGRi-FOOD.AI.
Meet us on the internet, www.agri-food.ai. And next week here on the AGRi-FOOD.AI podcast. You can find us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel and receive notifications when a new episode is available. The AGRi-FOOD.AI podcast is the official release of AGRi-FOOD.AI. Host Anna Maronic, sound design 6. Recorded by Zoltán Mandácskó. Producer István Erdei and AGRi-FOOD.AI. This podcast was created by
Trip Visual, Trip Audio.